Do not judge me by my successes, but judge me by the fact that how many times I got down and got up again. Told the great Nelson Mandela. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. Today's video is my humble dedication to a person in history, a personality in history, which aptly fits this title called the most successful failure until he became a person of history, until his name was established in the chapters of history for each one of us to relish. Today, I'm going to talk about the 16th President of the United States, Mr. Abraham Lincoln. Now, many might know that Abraham Lincoln was one of those influential presidents, one of those paradigm shifting presidents who had a very revolutionary impact in the American culture and in the history of America. He became the president when America was going through the worst condition in terms of societal and civil infrastructure. The American Civil War was at the peak under his leadership. What many don't know is about his early life. You probably would be knowing that Mr. Abraham Lincoln became the President of the United States in the year 1860, roughly about 51 years of age. But how many of us know about his initial life? It is often said that history is a great university, and the legends of history, they are our immortal mentors, because they always teach us such fine nuanced lessons which each one of us can benefit from. History has always been my favorite subjects while I was growing up, because of the fact that how different human beings are brought about and what are the perspectives, what are the situations which shaped and honed the demeanor. You would be surprised to know that when I say that Abraham Lincoln is the most successful failure, as you saw from the thumbnail of this video, the reason I gave it, if you look at his life, it is nothing short of a succession, a multitude of back-to-back failures. If it was some average Joe, if it was some average person, he probably would have thought or contemplated to attempt suicide. But Abraham Lincoln is the most exemplary example of what persistence, of what a never say die attitude means. Let me just give you a background, a brief history of Mr. Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born into abject poverty, and it is said that in his early 30s, he had acute financial crisis, and on the top of that, he had a lot of issues in his personal life as well. It is said that his wife died, and he had a nervous breakdown, and he had failed in businesses multiple times. On the top of it, he failed in winning the elections 8 times consecutively. Just imagine the multitude of failures this person had to face. And despite all of that, he became the most immortal character in American history, which has been talked about in intellectual and philosophical circles till date. Forbes magazine did an exclusive iteration over the biography of Mr. Abraham Lincoln, and sort of suggesting what are the leadership lessons which each one of us can inculcate, no matter in what walk of life we are in. The fact that he was so persistent amidst failures is inspiration enough for each of us. The reason I say this is, oftentimes, most of us, when we are subjected to or we encounter a challenge, a situation which sort of makes us frustrated in any dimension of our life, we suddenly feel a sense of melancholy dawn within us. The feeling of melancholy starts dawning within us. This is the reason why history is such a huge university. This is the reason why legends, looking at the life of legends and reading biographies of epics, reading biography of people who were epic in their attitude, in their thought process, is so serving us, because oftentimes we get so accustomed to being a victim that we absolutely lose track of life. And we always find it so easy to play the victim, because it's easy to play the victim. Anybody can play the victim. But what's difficult is, as I mentioned by the quote of Nelson Mandela, to get up every time you are bogged down, or when you are thrown down by the difficulties of life. How many times do you get up? How many times do you have the capability to bounce back? Is a reflection of your true character. Sitting in the couch and complaining as to why you were able to do something is something anybody can do. But legends don't waste their time in complaining or playing like a victim. No matter how life seems unfair to them, they understand that they should keep going. There's a very commonly used quote which says, when the conditions get tough, the tough get going. And one thing you'll realize, just look at the chapters of history, whether it's Indian history or whether it is history of any other civilization. Any character who has achieved greatness, any character who has produced tectonic shifts which were iconic in nature, most of them have gone through a lot of struggles initially. And I find it very interesting that the fact that nature presented them so many struggles in the beginning of their life, maybe there was a conspiracy by nature to make them so strong and so powerful that one day when this huge responsibility would gravitate towards their shoulders, they would be in a better position to handle it. Our own Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the man who completely changed the image of India in front of the world, the fact that we are still a growing economy, even when the world is going through such a chaotic time from an economic standpoint. If you look at his life as well, his life is in itself, in so many ways, is a struggling story. A man coming from nowhere becomes a Prime Minister of India. And you know what the funny part is? Before 2014, not many people knew the name Narendra Modi beyond Gujarat. At least I didn't know who this person was prior to 2014. Only people who were in Gujarat probably were aware of him. He was not a known face. But suddenly this person comes out of nowhere and he just captivates the world at large. Now the reason why Abraham Lincoln's story is very captivating is the fact that this man only saw failures maybe most of part of his life, right? 50% of his life is just gone in a multitude of failures. He could have easily broke down. His health was a mess, his personal life was a mess, his professional life was a mess. But still, this man still goes on. And there are a lot of lessons in leadership and life which we can learn from Abraham Lincoln. But one thing is very evident. This man's attitude of persistence it's almost like it's encrypted in his genes. It's part of his signature, DNA signature. His brain tattooed it in his genes. It almost feels like that. And this quality of grit and persistence is found out by Forbes as one of the most exemplary and hallmark qualities of legends. Legend is not a product of talent. Legends are built out of character. Legends are built out of habit. Legends are built out of persistence. And Abraham Lincoln's life, if you just Google Abraham Lincoln's failures, right, you will have a timeline wherein each year they have given what kind of failure he faced. And you'll notice at least the 20-30 years of his life is just filled with failures. Anybody could have gone crazy with that level of failures. But this man persists till the year 1860 when he is elected as the magnanimous President of United States, the 16th President of United States. a man who is known for his philanthropy, a man who is known for his statesmanship, a man who is known to be a powerful storyteller. As I mentioned in a couple of my earlier videos, people who are strong influencers, Steve Jobs also told us, he said, storytellers are the ones who have the capacity to change the world. And if you look at any influencer in any field, he would be a person who would be able to narrate a powerful story. A story which has the potential to captivate the audience is an influencer, is a powerful influencer. The reason Abraham Lincoln is respected so much in his culture and in world at large is because of the struggles the man had to endure. And as I mentioned, once you become a diamond, all the pressure starts making sense. Once a person becomes a diamond amidst all the chaos and pressures of life, then all the pressures and the seeming adversities which you were once exposed to starts making sense. And instead of playing victim, you start feeling a sense of gratitude towards these very circumstances. Because if it were not for these circumstances, this kind of character would not have been forged. You will look at this in any person who has achieved big in life. Their initial life would be filled with lots of ups and downs. And very few people, you will find that they always had everything smooth. And if someone has everything smooth, probably they won't be exposed to the level of pressures, and probably their character would not be so well refined and tuned to become that kind of a legend. So next time you face a challenge, because let's face reality, there is no human being in this planet who is alien to challenges. Whether you're rich or you're poor, the poor is struggling to fill his stomach and the rich is struggling to digest his food. Both have their own set of challenges. And it's very funny to hear this for the very first time, but the fact is that every person is going through challenges. But the challenges may be of different degrees and hues and different colors. The fact remains that every human being is bound to a challenging situation. And the fact that Mr. Abraham Lincoln was subjected to the most extreme situations, which you and me probably will never face. Probably we are fortunate enough to not face, or probably we are not fortunate enough to face those challenges. Because the challenges which Abraham Lincoln faced helped him to become more stronger, so that he could sort of lead America when it was going through the worst time in history. The American Civil War was a very dark time for the United States in general. And the kind of pressures which Abraham Lincoln was subjected to under his leadership was something not everyone can handle. A person who had gone through so many struggles and so many failures, only that person was capable of handling that failure. It was almost like nature had conspired him to make this person stronger. So next time you encounter challenges and failures, remember this very interesting point, that failure is probably your greatest friend. Failure is the best teacher you can have, and nothing fails like success. Hence, the most successful failure of history has a lot to tell us. There's a beautiful quote by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins told, "Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues." And any person, any successful person in history has left clues to the way their life had built up, the way they faced their situations. The entire history is filled with countless examples of exemplary characters who showed what power of facing challenge with grit, determination, and a positive mindset is. Also remember what Abraham Lincoln himself told about this notion of success and failure. He said, and I quote, "Success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Now, if you look at why any person is so hesitant to even do anything, to take any kind of initiative in life, is because he is afraid of failure. But understand this understanding is something which most of us know about, but still we are hesitant. There's a copious lot of people in history. There's a decent amount of people. There's a copious amount of people who have demonstrated that the number one prerequisite to become a success is to fail quickly. The more you fail, the more the chances of you becoming a huge success increase. Entrepreneurs know this. The people who took the biggest risk are the people who succeeded the big way. Now, I'm not saying that we should start becoming foolish and not take calculated risks. All I'm inviting you to suggest, all I'm inviting you to consider is this whole notion of becoming a failure needs to go, because failure is inevitable. No matter how careful you are, no matter how calibrated you are bound to fail if you are constantly trying to improve. And if you are never failing, then there is a very strong chance that you are not growing. The more you fail, the more quickly you fail, the more the chances of your growth increase. Hence, never hesitate to fail. Never hesitate to look at the fears in the eye. Because the greatest fear we have is the fear of failure. A person who wants to become a better orator, a better public speaker, the reason why he never ventures out in that direction is he fears humiliation. He fears what the other persons might think. And this is the reason why he is never able to polish that. He has become a failure himself the very moment he resisted failure. Look at the hypocrisy, look at the irony in this element of thought process. The reason why he is not doing something is because he is fearing failure. And because of the fear of failure, he is becoming a failure in the moment because he resisted doing something which he was scared of. And when we go towards our fears, that is the areas of our greatest gifts. And the more we become, the more we march towards our fears, the more stronger we become in terms of our own self-worth, in terms of our own self-image. Hope my video brought about a very strong perspective of how we can look at failures. And also I wanted to bring in the example of Mr. Abraham Lincoln, who's such a powerful example of how failures is just an event and nothing else. It's all about the kind of meaning you want to give failure. It's all your perspective. It's all the way you want to perceive it. Thank you so much for your time on my video. If you really enjoyed the content, don't forget to share it with a couple of your peers, and also do subscribe to my channel if you wish to get the content which I am uploading on a regular basis in this channel. Thank you so much, and I'll meet you in the next video. Bye.